What's up, everybody? I'm back with a new reaction video coming from Dr. Orion Taraban. Now, I mentioned a couple of times that, I think therapy, for the most part, is kind of a scam because most of them are just feminized and just there to just rotate clients back and forth, just to gouge up more money, just to it's not really fixing any problems or even giving you the proper tools so you don't have to keep constantly coming back. It's not really making anybody better. It's but there are a few that actually are true to what it means to be a therapist. Dr. Orion Taraban and Dr. Jeff from Ask a Brother podcast is probably the two therapists, male therapists, I want to put an emphasis on that actually are there to make sure that, they are trying to make sure they give like unbiased, not fluffing up your ego or your feelings. They just like, okay, like they hearing you out, and then after some time go by, give you the proper tools so you can actually go out there and move through life as healed as possible. Not just trying to constantly get you to come back or give you some pills or whatever like that. They actually give you some concrete information that will help both men and women. And I did at least one of his videos, a couple of his videos. It's been a minute, but here's one of his recent ones. Cheap sex is not all bad. Let's see what's this all about. But yeah, like I highly recommend, if you want to seek a therapist, look up Dr. Orion Taraban, and I keep forgetting his doggone last name, but you can check out the Ask a Brother podcast. Dr. Jeff, I forgot his last name, but you'll have his information there. Those two guys, I think they are proper therapists in the traditional sense. They tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I think that's beneficial for everybody. But let's see what he has to say. Follow Dr. Orion Taraban on his channel. Follow my channels on YouTube and Twitch, Talkative Carl. And as I stream video games, react to videos, and review content. So without further ado, let's check out what he has to say. Go on, speed this up just a tiny bit.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psychhacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is cheap sex. Today, I'm going to be arguing that cheap sex might not be all that bad. I know this is potentially a controversial take, but stay with me as I think I have a pretty compelling argument. You'll hear a lot of complaining these days from both men and women about the current state of the sexual marketplace. There's too much casual sex.
Real quick, I gotta say, one of the best advice that I heard Orion Taraban mention, it was like a little over a year ago by this point, where he mentions, because a long time ago he struggled with trying to get into the whole dating market, where he actually every once every other weekend or something like that, he dresses up, go out to a local bar, and he it took him a minute, but he had to make sure he pushed forward over that little anxiety hump. As he sees like a pretty girl he might be interested in, go there, talk with them. The worst thing she could do is just say no, and that's fine. But it builds up the confidence and the tough skin. So guys have to get that callousness when it comes to getting over that anxiety. The worst thing she can say is just no. But you gotta keep doing it. It's a numbers game for us guys. If you see a pretty girl, push through that anxiety barrier. It's the only way forward is through it. So, it might take a minute, but the last thing will be even worse than her saying no. The rejection itself. Only thing is worse is you later on that night or the next day worrying about and thinking about what could have happened if you would have walked over and talked with her. You don't want that. So power through it. Worst thing she can say is no. If she rejects you, just politely say, hey, thank you for your time, and just go about your life. It won't kill you.
Sex, there aren't enough committed relationships, marriage and birth rates are in free fall throughout much of the Western world, things of that sort. And there is obviously truth to that perspective. Sex, in particular, has been significantly devalued over the past 50 years. Whereas a couple of generations ago, sex with a woman was priced at a lifetime of protection, provision, and commitment. The going rate for sex today is a couple of drinks at the local bar, if that. As I argue in my book, birth control was essentially Black Tuesday for the valuation of sex. Its bubble has burst, and this might not be a problem. I think it's time we collectively acknowledge that a lifetime of protection, provision, and commitment is an insanely high price to pay for sex. Like, sex has been hyper-inflated for centuries, and men have overpaid for it for thousands and thousands of years. So I actually think we're closer to the true value of sex today than we have been in quite some time. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Historically, the hyperinflation of female sexual access has motivated men all over the world to do all kinds of incredible things in order to generate sufficient value to trade at that price point. Sex could reside behind all kinds of courtships and commitments and sacrifices and responsibilities, which were often difficult and expensive to secure and maintain, in large part because the market rate for sex was so high. Ladies just didn't have sex before marriage. And while this created an underclass of women who were willing to transact for that resource more cheaply, it meant that, like it or not, most men would have to pony up at the altar if they wanted to get laid. This is why I think it's dangerous to romanticize your grandparents' relationship. Yes, they were married for 60 years, but they might have only gotten married because they were horny teenagers and there was literally no other way for them to scratch that itch. And they might have only stayed married because divorce was literally illegal. Trust me, if the pill and no-fault divorce existed 100 years ago, we would not have this collective nostalgia for our grandparents' relationships.
That's true.
As your next Cook County Commissioner,
that's definitely true. Our grandparents, you can, depending on your point of view, it can be viewed as like very fortunate they didn't have to worry about no-fault divorce or the pill, because if and we had things like shotgun weddings where it's just like, if you knock up a girl, you have to take responsibility and marry her and commit to her. But that's why it was so important that the father figure make sure that they meet any dude that catches the interest of the daughter. So it is important for the father figure to approve that guy. So that way, if something occurs, whether a baby is happening, or if think about getting serious, the guys have to know what kind of dude she's like potentially going to shack up with. Because too many girls, complain about, oh, what if he does this? What if he does that? What if he leaves me? What if that? Like, it's like that all. The chances of that gets extremely low because the father or the father figure steps in and checks this guy out, and it gives you the green light. That means the likelihood of that even occurring is slim to none. Sure, there are outliers. Things happen through the course of time. Like, he never like once put his hands on you for the course of the 25 years y'all been together. But one slight argument, and it gets too raw one night, and all of a sudden you go upside your head. That one time we probably lost his cool, not justifying it, but those are outliers. But then y'all have to work through it, because in the past he never did that before. It was just one slip up of an emotion. He got out of his, he got out of pocket at that moment. But it doesn't mean like it necessarily means the relationship is completely done. It just means that y'all got to, work through some whatever issues you got to work through, and why it got so heated to that point. But that is like the lesser of two evils compared to some dude who is just like a well-known cheater or a well-known beater, or like a philanderer, but you shacking up with a guy like that and ignoring the father's opinions about the guy, thinking like, hey, that's not a good idea, but you go along with that guy because he makes you feel the feels. You got like the ladies gotta have to be a little bit more move smarter and listen to the advice of your father figures, so you can avoid like bad scenarios, or at least lessen the likelihood of those bad scenarios occurring. Because nothing's a perfect system. Something will happen. There's always something, but the minimizing that is the best way to move. But you just can't just open up your legs to any like just dude that just makes you feel some type of way without knowing the guy's character. There's too many girls like that moving like that, and usually open up the legs to kind of guys that don't deserve it. It's kind of wild. And then make the good guy had to work twice as hard for something that the bad boy didn't really have to put in any effort or a little effort as possible. It's just got to get a move a particular way.
Years ago, we would not have this collective nostalgia for our grandparents.
The grandparents, they had those kind of guardrails. The grandfather had to meet the grandmother's father before they even go out to date. We need to bring that back. And honestly, I think we need to take away the whole no-fault divorce that's been abused to all the live long day. We got pills so that way that it's supposed to be like a deterrent rather than the smortion. But that no-fault divorce, I think that's been abused. I understand that was been like started off on a good note, but it's just got, let's be frank, it's been corrupted. People just using it, I got bored, I can just leave. No. It's no-fault divorce, in my opinion, was meant for a specific thing. But of course, left to the ladies' devices, they can just use that for any little thing. Oh, he didn't buy me this and I'm feeling some type of way. Divorce. I got bored. Divorce. It's like he yelled at me one time. Divorce. Do you see like how it's like very detrimental that you give that kind of power to ladies? You know, like how easy for them to just abuse it because they don't want to go through the grind. They want to take the easy way out. They will. They've done it many times in multiple different things. So I see the purpose of it, but there should be at the very least a caveat. You can't just use it on a whim. It has to be for specific reasons, and not something you can easily just work through, or if you're in your emotions, you give it some time before you decide to pull that lever. Like, these little things that can't be just wielded willy-nilly, in my opinion.
Parents' relationships. In any case, since most women didn't have sex before marriage, which hyperinflated the value of their sexual access, men had to do a lot to meet them at that price point. Like, make no mistake, the hyperinflation of female sexual access has historically motivated men to become better men, probably more than any other single incentive on this planet. Men would invent an 8th day of the week if it would increase the likelihood of them getting laid. In any case, this is likely one of the main drivers of the men's crisis in contemporary society. You see, no one will pay more than they need to for the same good. If men often became better in order to meet the historically hyperinflated value of female sexual access, and if sex today is so cheap, then we should expect to see much less effort from men in this regard. And this is, of course, precisely what we're seeing, which creates a negative feedback loop. Since sex is so cheap, there is hardly a reason to go to large and difficult lengths to obtain it. So why might this be a good thing? Chris Rock has this great bit about how dick is cheap. It's hilarious, but not entirely true. Like, dick is not cheap inherently. It's only cheap relatively. Namely, it's cheap in comparison to the hyperinflated female equivalent. However, now that female sexual access has been devalued, now that, in my opinion, we're closer to the true value of female access, women can't expect to merely transact their sexual access for a committed relationship like marriage. Those two goods are no longer comparable, like not by a long shot. And this is an incredible change. Like, it cannot be overstated how momentous this is. For perhaps the first time in a very long time, the value of a man's commitment significantly exceeds the value of a woman's sexual access, like significantly. And this means that women today cannot hope to secure commitment through sex, which, for better or worse, has been their primary, if not exclusive, strategy for centuries.
Now, I thought he was going to go with the other true statement from Chris Rock, that men are the only ones, because only women, children, and pets are the only ones on this planet that are loved unconditionally. It's men who are only loved on the condition they provide something. We're the only ones that are only loved on the condition that we provide something. And that is the part, the most harshest, truest statement on earth. In society. That is 100% true. Because he also made a joke that, I'm pretty sure it was in the same special, that, if a girl loses her job, the guy's not going anywhere. He's perfectly fine. But if the guy loses his job, she's not leaving you right away, but the clock is ticking. On average, the girl will probably give you maybe a year to see if he could bounce back. Because she will, little by little, she's gonna start like planning out some exit strategy, looking at other guys, who are doing something with their lives a little bit closer. Not to make it seem like every girl is shallow like that, but the girl will be losing, respect after a certain period of time goes by, if the guy ain't trying to find any new job as soon as possible. Because it's very rare to come across a woman who wants a stay-at-home husband. The likelihood is very small, almost non-existent, and the woman has to be exceedingly wealthy in order to make that anywhere near okay.
If you're interested in taking your understanding to the next level, I would encourage you to check out the Captain's Quarters, my members-only self-improvement community. Your monthly membership will get you access to a cadre of like-minded, supportive individuals aboard. Just like men had to become, well, better in order to secure female sexual access in the past, that is, they had to become strong and masculine and responsible and committed and hardworking, women now have to become, well, better in order to secure male commitment today. At least high-value male commitment. Your average dude still comes pretty cheap. This doesn't mean that women can't secure male sexual access without leveling up. They can do that for sure. It means that they can't secure high-value male commitment without doing so. Like, women think men are easy until they try to get married. And since they typically only want to hitch their wagons to the high-value dudes, many of them are woefully unprepared for the challenges they suddenly encounter in this process.
Yeah, like, ladies nowadays, let's be real, most of them just want the glitz and the glamour of the wedding. They are not prepared for the marriage part of it all after the wedding, the work that's involved. And I think that is the fault of the parents, usually the moms, who are not preparing the daughters very young of what is to be expected of her when she gets married. It isn't just about learning how to cook or to clean. It's making sure what is involved in terms of like how you talk with a man, like, you know, what is expected for you when the man gets home from a long day of work. Like I heard an older woman, not crazy old, but she obviously, like, you know, late 40s, getting to her 50s, and she expressed, maybe it's a little older than that, I can't remember, it's been a while, but she expressed that, you know, when the man gets home from a hard day of work, don't bother him right away with, you know, whatever was going on with you. You know, he just got home. Like, let the man, like, give him a kiss on the cheek. You know, make sure it's, like, the food is ready, the house is clean. Like, if you got kids, make sure they're, like, doing their homework or whatever. You know, make sure his bath is, you know, ready, or the shower is ready for him. He got, like, you know, some clothes set aside for him to change into once he's, like, you know, done with the shower. You know, give him an hour to decompress, watch the game or the movie he's recorded, you know, so you can watch, you know, while he eats. Don't let the kids bother him while he's, like, trying to just, you know, decompress. And usually is after an hour, he will take it upon himself to come to you and ask you, honey, how was your day? That's when he is fully prepared to take on whatever topics or whatever you want to get off your chest, because he has, like, calmed down enough from the day's work to then take on whatever it is. That's when you go, because he is mentally prepared for that now. Elder women used to teach these kind of things to these girls, but, you know, that's not chic. That's not trendy. It's trendy to, like, think about, like, yourself and what the guy can do for you. That's why some women glitch out when you ask, okay, what is expected of you to do for that man? What are your duties as a wife? They glitch out. They cannot answer that. It's very little can give you a good assessment of themselves to know what they are expected to do in a committed relationship. It's so little of them, where it used to be in mass. But generation after generation gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and that number is, like, you know, I mean, I think we reached a point where now they come to a realization where it's like, now people are trying to shift that to where now trad wives is starting to increase in popularity, because most girls want to live a soft life, or they realize feminism was a complete scam. They don't want to work as much. They actually know what kind of man they really need to have for a long-term relationship. There's like a shift, and hopefully for the next couple of generations they'll teach their own children, and that way they'll be properly, the next few generations be, in the future will be properly prepared, hopefully. And they need to bring back, well, I'm pretty sure there's wife schools out there, but they need to be like highly promoted and advertised in mass, so more young girls can have the knowledge, so that way they can have the proper tools ready, so when they do find the kind of guy that they ideally want, they know how to serve him better.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
That makes you feel, me using that wording. Yes, serve him better. You're a helpmate. You're not the star. You're not the main star. Okay, I'm sorry, but you'll still get the glory by proxy. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not like you say you can't do nothing for yourself, but you know what kind of guy you want. You want the leader. You every once in a while you're not going to get the spotlight. Okay?
Women have to offer something other than their sexual access in order to secure commitment. Now, many women listen to this and think, well, geez, Orion, I have a lot to offer. I'm well-traveled. I have a master's degree. I have a position as an associate manager. I make $100,000 a year. I think I come with a lot. And I'm here to tell you that men don't care about any of that shit. They don't. It's the cat that decides what milk is good, right? Women seem to think they can dictate what men should value while simultaneously dismiss the things that men actually do.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird how like there are girls out there with all these master's degrees and CEO of blah blah blah, and what kind of 401k they have. I think that makes a dude's dick hard, and it's like, no, we do not care because we don't get any resources from the woman, unless you're dealing with some bummy dude that beat you upside the head and you giving him money because you think it's, he's misunderstood and you're trying to fix him and you think it's hot or whatever. Those weirdo women. But generally, men do not find that attractive at all. We do not care. We are very indifferent. A guy might say, it's like, oh my God, wow, you're got a doctorate in the psychology? Oh my God, it's so interesting. It's pretty much no different from asking about the weather. It's just, just breaking the ice. Peel back the layers, he doesn't really care because he knows that most of the relationship, if y'all do end up together, he's going to be doing the most of the spending. Very rarely you're going to be spending anything on him. And when you do, it's usually probably on special occasions. Oh, that's good. Excuse me. So it is, use praising all these accolades you have. That's good for you, but that's the kind of stuff that you should be attracted from a man. A guy should be the one bragging about. Well, normally that's not even attractive either. The guy has to brag about what kind of job he has or whatever. But you should like the fact that he has such and such type of career. You can have whatever career you want. It doesn't really matter to the guy. That's good for you. Your job, in a guy's point of view, is a functional equivalent of him bragging about like the number of like Pokemon cards he collected or something like that. That's his collection is good for him, but that doesn't benefit you in terms of relationship. This is a fun little thing for him to appreciate. So you got to look at it through that lens. Okay? Your doctorate is good for you. That does not benefit the man. You have to let that sink in. Stop bringing it up. You have to train yourself to stop bringing it up, because 9 times out of 10, the guy does not care. And don't listen to those pandery dudes out there. It's like, oh, I care. Dude, doesn't matter. Okay? She's not going to sleep with you. Okay? Stop pandering to these girls gassing their head up. You know full well you do not care. She's not going to be spending her hard-earned money on you like the way men do for women. Not in this. It's not in the same ballpark. No way, no shape or form. So you gotta train yourself, ladies, to stop bringing it up, because I mean, you can ask, do you care? Of course, the guy not gonna hurt your feelings, so there's no point even asking, because he's gonna just say, yeah, I care, because he's not gonna lie to you. I mean, he's not gonna tell you the truth. He probably won't even not gonna believe him anyway. So just think to yourself, he's probably not gonna care deep down. Subconsciously, he's probably not gonna care. So I'm not gonna bother bringing up all these accolades. Only thing he'll probably do care about is the things that men will want in a wife. Nurturing. Are you gonna be a proper helpmate? Are you gonna be a headache? Are you gonna be loyal? Are you gonna try to satisfy him sexually? Can you make a decent meal? Would you make a good mother? Those things are generally, or the criteria most men will care very high. It's very high on a lot of guys' lists. Nowhere on that list is anything about your job. Even if it's on the list for some guys, it's very low on the totem pole. Very low.
Secure commitment, a woman needs to be useful to the man in question, and she cannot create unnecessary problems in his life. High-value men want warm, supportive, feminine women. You're there to help him realize his mission. He's not there to help you realize yours.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Let me rewind. I need to repeat it one more time just so you can let that sink in.
High-value men want warm, supportive, feminine women. You're there to help him realize his mission. He's not there to help you realize yours.
Yeah. You're the support. You're the co-pilot. You're not the main star. It might make certain women feel some type of way, but let's be real. You fulfill those roles irregardless. It's just almost like naturally as breathing to you, ladies. Especially if you really like the guy, you end up doing those kind of things. And it seems like a duh moment, but it's just like some women think like, like they can't fathom of being not in the spotlight. I tell a female friend of mine that if she ends up meeting a guy, depending on what kind of career he has, you should make yourself useful to that guy if you really like him. It doesn't really matter what kind of job he is. Once you figure out, take the detective skills that you use to find out if he's cheating on you, use those same skills to figure out what this guy is into, what he does for a living, all that stuff. Let's say he works in construction. Okay, I really like this guy. He treats me well. How can I, be of use to him so you don't just think I'm just a walking vagina, just like every other woman? How can I stand out? Okay, how about I make him his lunch and have it prepared so he can, he doesn't have to worry about spending anything or making anything himself. He has something nice, home cooked, that is properly prepared for him to bring to his lunch so he can have something proper to eat that's healthy probably. So that is adding value to his life. You're being an asset, not a liability. It might not be in the construction. Maybe you might meet some kind of CEO or a lawyer or something like that. and you notice, oh, I can iron his clothes for the week. Or I noticed that he's darn near out of the particular brand of shoe polish to keep his shoes nice and neat. I can shell out, $20 or $30 for a bottle of this particular brand of shoe polish and present it to him like, hey, I got this new shoe polish. I noticed that you were nearly out. I got you a new pair. So that registers to a guy. Believe it or not, something will tick off in his brain. It's like, oh, wow. No other girl took the time in to think about me and what I got going on. That is an asset. Because girls generally act very selfishly. It's the wiser women who understands I'm with a solid dude. I want him to think very highly of me. I want him to see me as a potential girlfriend, potential wife. I'm going to do these small investments that will pay out greatly in the future. Small little sacrifices. I spending $20 some odd on a bottle of shoe polish or a brand new wallet for him. That is a small investment out of my own pocket. That is a small sacrifice out of my own self. So that way he sees it. He views it as a potential asset. Like, oh, wow, she's thinking of me. She's making my life easier. She's being a proper helpmate. I will definitely bring her around a lot more to like office parties or these certain events. Or I will definitely call her up a lot sooner. I will actually take her out to bigger and better things other than just like a coffee date now, because she has showed me she's got more going on up here and great character in here. So that way, this won't be a potential liability. Unlike these other girls who only think about what kind of trips and handbags I can pay for her. That's something like a lot of girls need to start thinking about, is these small little sacrifices. Guys generally do the bigger sacrifices almost all the time. Maybe not big, but more frequent ones. Generally, women aren't like thinking about like any sacrifices on themselves. They want to say like me. What can I get? They always got their hand out. But it's the wiser girls that know, okay, I have better do something to show this guy I'm more than just sex. I'm more than just my body. Here's what I can bring into the relationship if you look at me in that light. This is what you get if you take me seriously. Because, let's be honest, if you're dealing with a guy who's a lawyer or a CEO, you know he's banging a lot of checks. More than likely. Because he's a very appealing dude in terms of the dating market. Multiple women will be eyeing a guy like that. You have to stand out above the sea of women. Where you want to admit it or not, there is a competition amongst you girls. If you want a particular guy that is not that frequent on a day-to-day basis. Because pretty girls are a dime a dozen. Rich CEOs or lawyers aren't that frequent, especially if they're single and straight. Not that frequent.
Your mission gets realized in the process of realizing his mission. That's what's expected of anyone who serves on another person's ship. And if that doesn't work for you, that is perfectly all right. But you might have to build your own ship and seek to attract a passenger of your own. Just keep in mind that the men who you might want to attract, the men who already have their own ship, aren't ever going to give that up to be a passenger on yours. What else can you do, ladies? Are you interesting? Are you funny? Are you charming? Are you kind? Are you easy to get along with? Are you adventurous? There's many different ways that you can provide value. And this is important, are you not creating problems that negate any positives that you do bring to the relationship? And keep in mind, it's not ultimately for you to decide whether or not you are these things. It's for the man. It's for the man. Like the comedian doesn't decide if the joke is funny. The audience does. So if you believe you are all of these things and more, but you're finding it difficult to secure consistent commitment from the men you would prefer, the market is giving you feedback.
Whoa. What's that?
To men all the time. If a man is having trouble attracting female attention, securing dates, getting laid, I don't tell him that he's perfect in every way, and his lack of success is due to women feeling too threatened to see his real worth, probably due to their fragile femininity. Like, come on, get real here, guys. We all basically understand that a man with those outcomes isn't doing something right. Well, guess what, ladies? The same is true for you. If used properly, this market feedback will dissolve your vanity and help you succeed in a reality-based way. Ignore or dismiss it at your own risk. In any case, a woman cannot hope to merely bank on her sexuality in order to secure the commitment of a high-value man. Like it or not, this is priced at a couple of drinks at the local bar. Such a man is not going to trade a lifetime of protection, provision, and commitment for that. So don't think you're bestowing him some great blessing in the bedroom. My point is that this sexual devaluation might actually be a good thing, or at least contain a silver lining. It's a good thing as long as women can let go of the historical valuation and see current and foreseeable market conditions clearly. Just as was true for men for centuries, this might motivate women to make an effort to secure commitment by providing more goods, services, and experiences to transact at a comparable valuation. And this will be necessary because the commitment of a high-value man is way more valuable than sex from a particular woman. Like, way more valuable. That's the prospect of indefinitely receiving a top percentile full-time salary without working, compared with a bar tab. Not only are these valuations not comparable, they're not in the same fucking ballpark. Like, I'm not even sure they're the same fucking sport at this point. And it's up to women. It's up to women to do something to close that valuation gap if they hope to get what they want. Real talk. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message. I know you know someone who needs to hear this, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow.
Yeah, I really like this guy. You know, he makes a heck of a lot of sense. And there it goes. I look like your dad. Oh, is that a compliment or, you know? Anyway, yeah, that is that is very beneficial to a lot of people that needs to hear this, especially guys. It's like, if you're on a come up or you're grinding and you got ambition and you got something you're achieving, the last thing you need is a lady who might be a detriment and not an asset. And is on the girl to figure that out. If she's really into you, she needs to figure out how to stand out. And you cannot tell her, because every guy is different. We got different, interests, different careers, different motivators. So it's up to her to figure that out. And you can't just give her the answer. If she really cares, she'll find it out herself. It's like that video I did like the other night, where one of the clips was a lady who gives her supposed boyfriend a golden leaf as a birthday present. That just shows that she did not care about that dude whatsoever. Because clearly she doesn't know the guy well enough to give him a proper gift. What to do when you wish to be with someone who's depressed? I'm not sure if that person is depressed. Have you talked with that person? Actually, had a good sit down with them and see what's going on, because it could be a myriad of things, half of which are probably fixable, but the other half is probably something so deep that probably requires some professional help. But I would use that as like our last resort. Probably bring it up, like to maybe some family members and see like what's going on. But if you want to be with this person and you're not really already locked in already, you gotta run through the pros and cons, because if that person's depressed, they gotta probably work on something themselves. Because in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, okay, but it's just in my opinion, if you're just coming in and you're feeling somebody but they're going through some kind of depression, you can, if it's up to you if you want to try to assist in the matter. I'm not sure how long y'all probably dated or you're just in a talking stage, but you're not really that obligated to fix whatever problem that person's going through. But like, I would advise just to, if I'm being honest, I advise not to get involved if you're not already locked in. You don't have to get involved too deep, because both a man and a woman needs to come into the relationship with little to no baggage. Okay, everybody has baggage, certainly, but it's usually baggage that's manageable. Okay, we all been through stuff, but if they coming in where they're darn near broken, not to be disrespectful to that person, but if they come in already like going through some serious stuff, it's not on you to try to take on that burden. There's extra work that you don't really need to do. Now, it's different if you're already locked in. Then you probably need to talk with some friends and families and try to help this person, get out of that funk. But outside of that, you're not really obligated. Just being real with you. Both man and a woman need to come in with their head on straight, because nobody, no man nor woman, needs to take on some extra burden they're not obligated to have. It's not fair, to be frank. Anyway, I will see you guys in a little bit. I got a couple more reaction videos to do before I get back playing some more Resident Evil Requiem and some more Digimon, and I might throw in some Marvel Rivals tonight, because I still want to play a little bit more Elsa Bloodstone. But in any case, thank you for stopping by. I will see you guys in a little bit. Take care.